Hi everyone, welcome to St. Mary's English Medium online classes. Today we are moving to the next module of ecosystem. In the first module or the previous module, we have discussed what is meant by ecosystem. Ecosystem is a self-sustained unit of biodiversity where the interaction of organisms among themselves and to the abiotic factors is taking place. And ecosystem are of two types, natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem. Natural ecosystem, which is actually in the nature itself. That is, desert is a natural ecosystem. Then what else? Ocean is a natural ecosystem. Then what else? Forest is a natural ecosystem. These are some examples of natural ecosystem. I hope you understood what is meant by a natural ecosystem, where the organisms are naturally present and their interactions are there. So then next is about artificial ecosystem. Artificial ecosystem example, a aquarium, a zoo, like that way. So this is made up by the humans, and the animals are living in a controlled environment. So that is called as what? Artificial ecosystem. Then we move to the forest ecosystem as an example. Forest ecosystem, there is producers. Which are producers? The green plants are known as producers. Then consumers. The plants are taken up by the other animals. They are known as what? Consumers. And then what else? Yes. Then the components of ecosystem. There are mainly two components, biotic components and abiotic components. Biotic components means what? The organisms which they are interacting. There are different purpose. So mainly the animal interaction for what? Food. So the interaction of animals in terms of food, it is termed as what? Food chain. Interaction of animals in terms of food, it is termed as food chain. And this food chain, the organisms are having different levels. Each level in a food chain, it is known as trophic level. The first trophic level will be a producer. It will be a green plant. Then second, primary consumer, a herbivore. Third one, secondary consumer, a carnivore or a omnivore. Then fourth one, it is what? Yes, it's a carnivore. So like that way the trophic levels are moving, and according to that the levels of this. So this is what? Grazing food chain, grazing food chain. Then next one, it is what? Decomposes. So after all, these all things should be recycled back into the atmosphere. We are all made up of gases and all that things. So the decomposers are also included in this. Decomposers include scavengers, vultures and all things. Then detritivores, decomposers. So all these things are coming under this one. Next we are moving to the abiotic components of ecosystem. In this first abiotic component, it is sunlight. Sun is the energy source for the entire ecosystem. Sun is the energy source for the entire ecosystem. And by the energy from the sun, the plants are making their own food. Photosynthesis is taking place, and with the help of plants they are making the food. These plants provide the entire energy, food for the entire living world. So sunlight, sun is providing energy, and which is actually utilized by the plants and converted by them to in the form of chemicals. So chemical energy will be utilized by the entire living world. The next is air. Air is one of the most essential thing which makes the earth unique, because the presence of air, that makes what? The presence of oxygen, and that is used for every living things to respire. Without oxygen the life cannot exist. So air is having that much of components. All the nutrient cycling process air participates. And air, it's a medium for the flight of the birds. Flying of birds, air is a medium. And then air provides oxygen, and even the gaseous exchange for photosynthesis and all carbon dioxide, any other minerals and all things which are present in the atmosphere. Nitrogen will be fixed into the soil and utilized by the plant. So all these resources are there in the air. The next is about water. For the proper growth and development of a plant and an animal, this water is an essential thing. Our earth is a blue planet. Why it is blue in color? 3 by 4th of our earth, it is water. Only 1 by 4 part is land area. So this water is blue in color, that is why the name blue planet. Yes, water, it's an essential for both plants and animals. So water, for photosynthesis, for their growth, for the transport of materials, everything, water is a major thing, isn't it? Yes. And even there is some movements related with water, traffic movements. Traffic movements are related with the stimulus, and hydrotropic movement, it is related with the water. And warmth, next is about warmth. Before that, water, it is used for animals for maintaining their body temperature, that is blood or body blood 90 that is in our body blood that much percentage is water, and all these things. Water is an essential component of our diet, so we are requested to have 8 glasses of water per day. At least 2 liters of water per day we have to consume. Then warmth, temperature is another factor. Proper temperature should be the particular temperature range only the plants and animals can grow. And even in polar regions or in desert regions, the plants and animals are there, but they are having adapted to that particular regions. Normally, the normal temperature is essential for each and every organism. You know that there are some plants which are there in the high range places, that is Ooty, Kodaikanal and all. We will just pluck the plants and we'll just put it in our garden, but it will not grow. Why? The temperature is a factor. Then soil is providing nourishment and a place to fix the plant, everything. So the soil is a part of nutrient recycling also. Everything is coming to the soil. After death, everyone or everything, it is reaching to the soil, where the nutrient cycling should take place, where the activity of decomposers will takes place. So the role of soil is remarkable as a abiotic component of ecosystem. The soil fertility, it is one of the most important concern. That is, maximum amount of nutrients present in soil makes the soil fertile, and that soil fertility leads to the maximum outcome from the plants. So this maximum outcome is utilized by the animals. So this one is very important when concerned with the abiotic factor. So which are the abiotic factors we discussed? First one, it is sunlight, provides the energy for the entire living world. Second one, it is air, where oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, all these gases are present, and it is a for respiration and for gaseous exchange, and even for the even act as a medium for the flight, etc. is taking place. Then third one, it is water. Water is one of the major essential thing, where the nutrients are transported by means of water, and where the process and by the whatever we are consuming, its major part, it is water. And our body, blood, it is all containing water in high amount. So the cycling of materials inside our body, even in our body and even in plants, wherever, the water is playing a major role. The next is about warmth, the temperature. Temperature is actually plays a major role in the development of animals or plants. The proper range should be maintained. Okay, there is a particular narrow range where maximum growth of plants and animals will be there. Then soil is one of the most important component of the abiotic factors which related with the ecosystem. So soil is different types. Mountain, there is different soil. Sandy soil is the Then loam is clay soil is the different kinds of soil and different areas, different types of soils are present in different qualities of soils are available. So this is what about the soil. After all, we have to know everything which is present on the earth as living once it will back to soil, and that will be acted by the decomposers, and the nutrients or the what components are made are in the body of that individual. It will be retained back into the soil. So nutrient cycling, the soil plays an important role. Now we are moving to the next topic. It is what? Food chain and food web. So what is meant by food chain? Yes, from the beginning itself we have seen what is meant by a food chain. Food chain is actually the interaction of organisms in terms of food. But in your textbook there is a beautiful definition is given. What is that? Yeah, the linear sequence of organisms. In each organism eats lower member and itself eaten by the next higher member. The same thing what I have said, but in a little bit framed manner. What is it? Linear sequence. It's a linear sequence. Okay, one directional sequence of organisms. Linear sequence of organisms. In which linear sequence of organisms in which the organisms eat. Each organism eats its lower member and is itself eaten by the next higher member. So you can see here, this is what first trophic level. What is that? Grass. By using sunlight and water, it will make what? Food, and which will be consumed. The grass will be consumed by means of grasshopper, and that is the primary consumer. And primary consumer will be taken up by the secondary consumer, frog. Here frog we are taking for defining food chain. Food chain is what? The linear sequence of what? Sequence of organisms. Linear sequence of organisms in which each organism is eating its lower member. So frog is the secondary consumer. It eats what? The primary consumer. And this one, the second, and it will be eaten by the higher member of its category. So the secondary consumer will be taken up by the tertiary consumer. So linear sequence of organisms in which each member will eat the lower member and be eaten by the higher member of organisms. That is what the interaction of organisms in terms of food. It is actually known as what? Food chain. Here producer, consumers, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, and finally consumer. So till this one what? Grazing, food chain, and after this one it is what? Decomposes, detritivo is food chain. Okay, so you can see here primary consumer is a grasshopper. It may be a herbivore or a omnivore, and this one will be a omnivore or a carnivore. This one also may be a omnivore or a carnivore, but this one should be a carnivore, top carnivore. So this is what the food chains and food chain. Food chain, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, and some of the food chains are given in your textbook. Just go through the textbook and make your make with your assumptions. Just make a food chain yourself, then you will understand what is the reaction between them. Next is about food web. Network of several interconnecting food chains. It is termed as what? Food web. You can see over here, corn is taken up by the grasshopper. It may be taken by the frog, and frog can be directly taken up by the snake. Or grass is taken up by grasshopper, which is taken up by what? And this butterfly is also that is also taken up by the frog, and which will be taken up directly by a eagle. Or this corn is taken up by grasshopper, which is taken up by the rat, and may be taken up by a wolf or a eagle. Okay, so next is about a flowering plant. Will be the flowers nectar is taken up by the butterfly, which is taken up by the frog, and which is taken up by the snake. And here the butterfly is taken up by dragonfly, or butterfly or dragonfly, which is taken up by the bird. The bird is taken up by the wolf, and the so on, the food web. That is what interconnection of food chains. Several food chains are interconnected. Okay, that is called as what? Food web. The several food chains are interconnected and termed as what? Food web. And here also, how many food chains you can see? Yeah, it's very good. So you can, I have given you two pictures over here. You take a rough paper, a rough book, not rough book, not a rough paper, rough book you can take, and find out how many this food chains are obtaining from food web A, and how many food chains are obtaining from food diagram B. Okay, two pictures are there, no? Picture 1 how many, and picture 2 how many. You just write, then you will understand how to create a food chain. Okay, every food chain will start with a green plant, and every one will grazing food chain will end with a carnivore or a secondary or tertiary consumer. So that's all about food web. I hope you understood what are all things. Then food web, as far we concerned, we are reducing any of the trophic levels from this. What happens? This will intimately, we are killing this wolf. Okay, what happens? The rat population and the bird population will rise automatically. Okay, the rat and bird population will rise automatically. So what happens? Its population is increasing. So the grasshopper is taken up by the rats very eagerly, and at the same time the fruit fly or the anything else is taken up by the birds very frequently. So that in turn reduces the other kind of organisms in the world. So these two are affected directly. At the same time, the population will increase here. They are not utilizing. So the interaction is actually makes the stability of the ecosystem. For a sustainable ecosystem, all the organisms should be present in the environment. So advantages of food web. The food web permits alternative food. Never depends on single food. It always provides different types of food. And continues better chance of survival of the organisms. Better chance of survival of the organisms. It simply means that food web provides more stability of the ecosystem. Food web provides what? Stability to the ecosystem. So that's all about this thing, food chain and food web. I hope you understood. Please try to make food chain your own. So here you can see so many food chains are available. So try to do it yourself. Okay children, hope you all understood what are all the things we discussed today. Yeah, what is abiotic components of ecosystem, then water, warmth, food chain and food web. So we have seen all these things. Thank you. Have a nice day. Stay home, stay safe.